Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam here with my brief thoughts on Duel. This was released in 1971. It premiered on ABC in 1971. And most famously, this is the directorial debut of one Steven Spielberg. Now, technically, this is not the first thing Steven Spielberg ever made. He made a ton of his own short films, a lot of which have been lost to time. There was one called Firelight, which has since recently been unearthed, all 3.5 minutes of it. And he directed an episode of Columbo and Night Gallery, the Rod Serling show. However, this, in terms of feature films, is where he started. And it tells the story of a man named David Mann, who is driving through the California desert to meet a client for his job. However, he begins to be pursued by a semi-truck. He does not know why the semi-truck is following him. All that he knows is that no matter how hard he tries, the truck is following him. So now it is up to David to A, escape the truck, and possibly B, find out who's driving the truck. This movie was based on the short story written by Richard Matheson, a legendary author whose works include The Omega Man, which would later become The Omega Man, The Last Man on Earth, and I Am Legend. Richard Matheson's career was long and lengthy. And as I mentioned, this is Steven Spielberg's debut. Not his theatrical debut, but his feature film debut. As I mentioned, this was a ABC movie of the week.
Duel.
One of the most well-received movies of the week of all time. I imagine if streaming were a thing back then, this would be the equivalent of a streaming movie. However, this would later get a theatrical release in a limited form and more or less would launch Spielberg's career. After this, he would get the Sugarland Express, and the rest is history. But as a movie as a whole, this is honestly a really solid little thriller. It's not Spielberg's best, but with a career like his best is so lofty that even his mid-tier ones are still very good, and this is one of the very good ones. It just focuses on this one driver, this one driver in the car and this one driver in the truck. You see the driver of the car, but you never see the driver of the truck. It's teased as to who the driver might be, but you're never fully shown that. The closest you get is this shot in particular, but even then, the movie's like, that may not be the guy, and we're not going to tell you. There's a lot of mystery involved with this, and it's a mystery that I appreciated. The movie feels small, but in all the right ways. Like, it's small, but it's also big in that it never loses focus of its mission. Its mission to make you incredibly paranoid, and this movie makes me very paranoid. Dennis Weaver plays David Mann, and he pretty much he's the one-man show. He has to communicate pretty much everything over the course of 74 minutes, later 90 for the theatrical release. And he did a great job here. His emotions were just great. His frustration is relatable and palpable. You really feel this guy. You really feel for this guy. You want him to make it out of this, but you just don't know how. It's one of those things where you're locked in and you don't know how you can get out. And David doesn't know either. I think because this was an ABC TV movie of the week, there's a lot of restraint that is on this. There's not a full amount of bombast you can do with something like this in this format. And this would later get a release with extended scenes for movie theaters. However, the TV release is the one that is the most widely known. I low-key kind of wish that Spielberg got a lot more to work with, but again, he made the most with what he was given. And so I think that is incredibly admirable. But now he's close to like 40, 50 years into his career. I'd love to see him do a movie like this. Maybe a spiritual sequel of some kind. I don't know, maybe after Disclosure Day? Who knows? But at the end of the day, I'm going to give this a great rating. It's not Spielberg's best, but it's really enjoyable. It's a taut, precise thriller. It gets in, it gets out, it doesn't waste any time. Its only real sin is that it's a really good movie in a career full of great movies. So it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of Duel? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.